Evan Walker walked home after a long day at the repair docks. The night on New Terra Colony was cold, quiet, and almost empty. Only a few neon lights flickered in the narrow streets, making everything look strange and lonely. He planned to eat, rest, and forget the world for a while. But that night, something unexpected waited for him in the shadows, something that would change his life forever. As Evan passed a line of metal crates behind an old warehouse, he heard a soft sound. It was not a cat, not a machine, not the wind. It was a tiny, shaky whisper. "Please," Evan froze. He had heard fear before, but this voice sounded different. It sounded young, fragile, terrified. He slowly stepped closer. His boots made small echoes as he moved between the crates. The shadows were thick, and the only light came from a broken wall lamp. When he reached the last crate, he saw her, a small alien girl, curled up tightly, hugging her knees. She looked no older than 8. Her skin was light blue, her hair white like snow, and her eyes large and shining with fear. She wore a torn cloak, and her feet were bare and dirty. She trembled so hard it looked like she was freezing inside. Evan raised his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. "Hey, it's okay. I won't hurt you." But the girl pulled back farther, pressing herself against the cold wall. She held something close to her chest, a small stone glowing with soft blue light. She was protecting it like her life depended on it. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Please, don't give me back to them." Evan blinked. "To who?" Before the girl could answer, a loud sound came from behind him. Heavy boots, metal scraping. A sharp clicking noise like a scanning device. The girl gasped and covered her mouth with her tiny hands. Her whole body shook like she was about to faint. Evan quickly realized she was hiding from someone, and whoever they were close. The alley filled with red scanning lights, sweeping left and right. They moved across the ground like searching eyes. A deep voice spoke into a device. "Target is near. Continue sweep." Evan's heart pounded. The girl began to cry silently, tears rolling down her blue cheeks. She whispered one tiny word, full of fear and pain. "Help." Without thinking, Evan reached out and picked her up. She flinched at first, but then gripped his jacket tightly, burying her face in his chest. He could feel her shaking like she expected death at any moment. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know why someone was hunting her. But he knew one thing clearly: no child should be this scared. More red lights moved toward them. A shadow appeared at the entrance of the alley. The hunters were seconds away from finding her. Evan made his choice. He turned and ran. The girl held onto him like she was holding on for her life. Her glowing stone pressed against his chest, pulsing faster and brighter with every step. The alley behind them filled with angry voices. "Movement detected. Stop. Identify yourself." Evan didn't stop. He sprinted across the street, ducked behind a building, and slipped into a narrow side passage he knew from years of working in the colony. The hunters' footsteps echoed as they chased, but Evan moved fast, weaving through dark turns and old storage areas until he finally reached a quiet, abandoned path. He crouched behind a large metal dumpster, holding the girl close. She was breathing fast and shallow, like she was about to collapse. "It's okay," Evan whispered. "You're safe for now." The girl slowly looked up at him. Her silver eyes were full of fear. And something else. Something old. Something heavy. "How long will you protect me?" she asked softly. Evan didn't know the answer. All he knew was that the glowing stone she carried was not normal, and the hunters chasing her were not simple guards. Something big was happening, bigger than anything he understood. He gave her a calm smile, even though he felt fear inside. "For as long as you need," he said. The girl stared at him for a long moment. Then she whispered, "My name. I cannot tell you yet. They will kill us both if they find me." Evan nodded slowly. He did not understand her world, but he understood fear. He understood danger. And he understood what it meant when a child begged for help. The night around them felt colder. The stars above felt distant. Evan didn't know it yet. But the girl in his arms was not just lost. She was not just hunted, she was someone powerful. Someone royal. Someone whose enemies would burn worlds to find her. And he had just become her protector. Evan carried this small alien girl through the empty streets until the noise of the hunters slowly faded behind them. His heart was still beating fast. The girl's small hands clutched his jacket so tightly that her fingers trembled. She did not look up, not even once, as if she feared the shadows would grab her the moment she moved. By the time they reached Evan's little home, an old metal cabin on the edge of the colony, the girl looked exhausted, almost ready to collapse. Evan opened the door gently, keeping the lights low so she wouldn't feel scared. "You're safe here," he said softly. "Come inside." The girl stepped in with tiny, careful steps. She looked around the room like it was a dangerous place. Evan realized she was not used to safety. Maybe she had never known it. He placed a warm blanket on the floor, then opened a food container. The smell of warm bread and soup filled the room. The girl's eyes widened. For a moment, her fear was replaced with hunger. "Go ahead," Evan encouraged. She moved slowly, almost like she was waiting for someone to shout at her. Then she took a small bite. Her hands shook, but she kept eating. She ate like someone who hadn't eaten in days. Evan watched quietly. He didn't want to scare her by speaking too much. When she was done, she looked at him with her big silver eyes still scared, but grateful. "Thank you," she whispered. Evan nodded. "Can I know your name?" The girl froze. Her lips trembled. She hugged the glowing blue stone close to her chest. "I cannot tell," she whispered, shaking her head quickly. "If you know my name, they will come. They will hurt you." Evan felt a cold shiver. "Who are they?" The girl stared at the window like she expected a monster to appear any second. "Bad people," she said softly. "People who want me gone." Evan tried again, gentle and patient. "Are they soldiers?" The girl didn't answer. Instead, she lowered her head. "I was left alone," she whispered. "I had nowhere to go." Her shoulders shook. She hugged the glowing stone even tighter than before. Evan moved slowly and placed a light hand near her, not touching her, just letting her know he was close. "You're not alone anymore," he said. She looked at him with tears filling her eyes. Her voice came out tiny and broken. "You mean that? Even if they come back?" Evan nodded firmly. "Yes, I won't let anyone hurt you." The girl seemed to melt a little inside. She sat beside the heater, letting the warmth touch her cold skin. She watched Evan with a soft, confused expression, like she could not understand why a stranger would help her. After a few minutes, Evan noticed the glowing stone pulsing gently. "What is that thing?" he asked. The girl hushed him quickly, pressing a finger to her lips. "Please, do not ask about it." "Why?" "Because it knows who I am," she whispered. "And it shows the truth." Evan could sense there was something powerful, something dangerous about that stone. But he didn't push her. "All right," he said. "I won't ask." The girl relaxed a little. She placed the stone on the floor next to her. It glowed brighter when Evan came close. The girl noticed and her eyes widened with surprise. "It reacts to you," she whispered. "Is that good or bad?" Evan said, half joking. She didn't laugh. "I don't know." The wind outside howled suddenly, making the cabin walls shake. The girl jumped and rushed to Evan, grabbing his arm. It was the first time she touched him willingly. "Are they back?" she whispered. Evan listened carefully. Only the wind, no boots, no scanning lights. "It's just the storm," he said. "You're safe." But she did not let go of his arm. Her tiny voice trembled. "I don't understand humans," she whispered. Why are you helping me? Evan thought for a moment. Because you needed help, he said simply. That's enough. The girl stared at him like she had never heard such a simple answer. In her life, later that night, Evan placed a pillow and blanket for her on the soft couch. You can sleep here, he said. She sat down carefully, still holding the glowing stone. Will you stay? She asked. I'll be right here, Evan sighed, pulling a chair next to her. Nothing will happen. The girl slowly lay down. Her eyes stayed on Evan until they grew heavy. Her first peaceful sleep in who knows how long. As Evan watched her sleep, he felt a strange feeling like she carried a secret too big for a child. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know what danger he had stepped into. But one thing was clear. She was more than a lost child. Much more. And soon, that truth would rise. The next morning in New Terra Colony felt heavy and quiet. Evan woke early, his back aching from sleeping in the chair near the alien girl. She was still curled under the blanket, sleeping softly, holding the glowing blue stone close to her heart. For a moment, Evan watched her with calm eyes. She looked like any lost child, small, scared, innocent. But deep inside, he felt something was wrong. Something big. He stepped outside to get fresh air. The sky was covered with gray clouds, and the wind carried a strange metallic smell. The colony was unusually silent. Even the market, normally busy, felt empty. When Evan walked past the supply station, he overheard two workers talking. You hear the news? One whispered. Yeah, they're searching for a missing alien juvenile. Juvenile? From which species? Unknown. But high-ranking, I think. They say she's dangerous if found by the wrong people. And the hunters? They arrived last night. They're questioning the whole colony. Evan felt his chest tighten. They're looking for her already. He quickly returned home. When he opened the door, the girl sat straight up, eyes wide with fear as if she sensed something. They're here, she whispered before he could speak. Evan closed the door and knelt beside her. Did you hear something? He asked gently. The girl shook her head. I feel it, she whispered. They are close. The glowing stone in her hands flickered weakly. Evan didn't understand how she sensed danger, but he believed her. She hadn't been wrong so far. Listen, he said, keeping his voice calm. We need to stay quiet. Don't look out the window, and stay close to me, okay? The girl nodded and held the stone tighter. A few minutes later, someone knocked on the cabin door. Slow, heavy, deliberate knocks. The girl gasped and hid behind Evan instantly. No, no. Don't open it. Please don't open. Evan whispered. Back, stay quiet, don't move. He didn't open the door. Instead, he pressed his back against it, listening. A strange voice spoke from outside, deep and cold. Residents of New Terra Colony, report any sightings of an unidentified alien child. She is considered lost and must be returned to her caretakers. Caretakers, the girl whispered with fear. That is a lie. Evan felt anger rise. Whoever was outside wasn't here to help her. After a long pause, the footsteps moved away. Only then did Evan relax a little, but the danger wasn't gone. Later that afternoon, Evan needed supplies. His food was almost finished after feeding the girl. He didn't want to leave her alone, but he had no choice. I'll be quick, he promised. Lock the door. Don't open for anyone but me, the girl nodded. Please come back. Evan left the cabin and rushed to the supply shop. But as soon as he entered, he noticed two tall men in dark uniforms standing near the counter. They had silver eye implants and metal plates on their arms. Clearly not normal colony workers. One of them showed a hologram screen to the shopkeeper. A blurred image appeared, small, glowing blue stone, white-haired girl. Frightened eyes, Evan froze. They had her picture. The shopkeeper whispered, I haven't seen her. The uniformed man leaned closer. If you see this child, report immediately. Protecting her will be treated as collaboration with a fugitive. Understand? Evan backed away slowly, careful not to draw attention. His heart pounded so loudly he feared they would hear it. He quickly grabbed food, paid quietly, and walked out without looking at anyone. As he turned a corner, a drone flew overhead, scanning people. Its red lights passed over him, and he tensed, but the scanner didn't alert. Not yet. He hurried home. When he reached the cabin, he knocked twice, just like he told her. The girl opened the door immediately and threw her arms around him. Her hands were ice cold. You came back, she whispered. Evan put the supplies down and closed the door behind them. They're everywhere, he said. They have your image. They know you're here somewhere. The girl trembled. For a moment, she looked like she would break. I should run. I shouldn't be here. They will hurt you because of me. Evan knelt down and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. I'm not leaving you alone, he said. If you run, they'll catch you. If you stay, I'll protect you. Her silver eyes filled with tears. No one ever protected me before. Evan gave a soft smile. Well, you do now. She studied him carefully, as if trying to understand something deep inside him. Then she whispered, You don't know who I am. But you still choose me. Evan nodded. I don't need to know. I see a child who needs help. That is enough. The girl slowly opened her hand, showing him the glowing stone. It knows the truth, she whispered. One day, it will show you who I really am. Evan didn't know what that meant. But a strange feeling grew in the room, like the air itself was waiting. Outside, the hum of a large ship echoed through the colony. The hunt was far from over, and the truth was getting closer. Evan spent the whole night awake, listening to every small sound outside the cabin. The alien hunters had been walking through the colony all day, questioning people, scanning houses, and watching every street. Evan knew they would come back. And he knew they would not stop until they found the girl. The girl slept lightly on the couch, holding the glowing stone against her chest, like it was the only thing keeping her alive. Every few minutes, she twitched or whispered something in her sleep names. Maybe memories, maybe cries from her past. Just before dawn, the stone pulsed again, brighter than before. Evan leaned closer. What is that thing? He whispered. The girl opened her eyes slowly, a little afraid. It is my heartstone, she said quietly. It belongs only to my family. Family? Evan repeated. You mean your parents? The girl nodded, but sadness filled her eyes. I had a family once. Evan waited, giving her time. She sat up slowly and placed the heartstone on the table. The blue light shimmered across the metal surface, reflecting in her silver eyes. It only glows like this when it feels danger, or when someone trustworthy is near. Evan blinked. Trustworthy? Me? The girl nodded shyly. Yes, it reacts to you. I don't understand why, but it chooses you. Evan chuckled nervously. Well, I'm glad something trusts me. But the girl didn't smile. She seemed lost in her thoughts. You don't understand. Heartstones don't choose humans. They only choose royal guardians. Evan froze. Royal what? The girl quickly covered her mouth, realizing she had said too much. She looked down, shaking her head. I cannot tell. I promised I wouldn't tell. Evan softened his voice. You don't have to hide anything from me. But she hugged her knees and whispered, If I speak the truth, you will not want me here. Evan sat beside her. Let me decide that myself. Silence filled the room. The girl took a deep breath and placed her tiny hand on the glowing stone. Please, don't be afraid. The heartstone pulsed again, then shined so brightly it lit the whole cabin. A soft humming filled the air. Suddenly, a hologram formed in the middle of the room, blue light swirling, turning, creating a shape. Evan stood up, shocked. A tall alien. woman appeared. She wore a long silver robe and a crown that shined like stars. Her eyes were kind but heavy with sadness. She held a small baby that looked exactly like the girl. The hologram spoke in a gentle, echoing voice. "My daughter, Alira. If you see this message, it means I have fallen." The girl gasped. "Mother!" Evan stared in disbelief. "Your mother, she's—" The hologram continued. "You are the last heir to the celestial crown. You must survive. Our enemies will come for you. Trust no one, except the guardian chosen by the Heartstone." The hologram turned slowly, looking straight at Evan, as if she could see him through the message. "Human, if the stone has chosen you, please protect her. She is the key to our empire's future. Without her, our kingdom will fall into darkness." Evan felt his breath stop. His legs felt weak. He wasn't protecting just any child. He was protecting an alien princess. The hologram softened. "Alira, my beloved daughter, remember. You carry my blood. You carry hope. Stay brave. Stay alive." The hologram faded slowly until only the stone was left glowing on the table. Heavy silence filled the cabin. Evan turned to the girl Alira. You're a princess?" She looked down, tears falling silently. "I didn't want you to know. I didn't want you to be scared." Evan knelt in front of her. "Alira, you think I won't help you because you're royal? I protected you before I knew anything." She wiped her tears with shaky fingers. "Everyone who knew my name, everyone who tried to help me, they died." Evan placed a warm hand on her shoulder. "I'm not everyone." Alira stared at him, her small body trembling. "I didn't want you to risk your life, but the hunters, they want me because I am heir to the throne." Evan nodded slowly. "Then we stay hidden, and we stay smart." Alira looked at him with a mixture of fear and trust. "You really won't leave me?" "Never," Evan said. "I gave you my word." Just then, boom! A loud explosion echoed. Through the colony, the cabin's windows shook violently. Alira grabbed Evan's arm. "They found us." The Heartstone glowed brighter than ever, warning them. This was no longer hiding. This was war. The ground shook under Evan's feet. Dust fell from the cabin ceiling. Alira grabbed his arm tightly, her silver eyes wide with terror. "They're here," she whispered. "The hunters found us." Evan moved quickly. "We need to leave. Now." He grabbed a small backpack and stuffed food, water, and a thermal blanket inside. Alira held the glowing Heartstone close to her chest, its light pulsing fast like a beating heart. The stone had never glowed this bright before. It was warning them, screaming danger. Outside, loud metallic footsteps echoed through the colony. Streets, strange alien voices shouted orders. Drones buzzed overhead, their red scanners sweeping over houses. A deep voice boomed from a loudspeaker. "Princess Alira, surrender. Your resistance is pointless." Alira froze. "They know." "I'm alive," she whispered. "Someone told them." Evan reached for her hand. "We will make it out. Stay close." He opened the back door of the cabin and peered out. The alley was dim, filled with smoke from the explosion, but empty for the moment. "Go," he whispered. Alira ran with him, her small feet light on the ground, her breath quick and shaky. The night air was cold, filled with the buzz of drones and the distant roar of engines. They moved through the narrow alleys, hiding behind trash bins and broken machinery. Evan kept checking every corner, watching for movement. Alira held on to his shirt whenever she felt scared. "Evan," she whispered, "you should leave me. They want me, not you." Evan shook his head. "Not happening. But they will hurt you. I'll take that chance." Alira stared at him for a moment. No one had ever said something like that to her. Not even her royal guards. Before she could respond, a loud blast shook the ground. A group of armored hunters turned the corner, Their eyes locked on Alira. "There!" one shouted. "Target found." Evan grabbed Alira's hand and ran. Laser beams shot past them, burning holes in the metal walls. Alira screamed softly but kept running. Her small legs pushed with all their strength. They reached the edge of the colony, where the forest began. The trees were tall, dark, and cold like a hidden world of shadows. "Into the forest," Evan said. Alira hesitated. "The forest is dangerous, less dangerous than them." They ran into the thick trees just as the hunters reached the colony edge. The forest floor was covered with old leaves, and the branches above blocked most of the moonlight. Evan kept Alira close, guiding her through the darkness. A drone flew above the trees, scanning. Its red light flickered through branches. Alira pressed herself against Evan, shaking. "They will find me," she whispered. "They always find me." "Not this time," Evan said firmly. They crouched behind a fallen log as hunters entered the forest. Their heavy boots crushed leaves. They used advanced scanners to search for heat signatures. Evan held his breath. Alira squeezed the heartstone tight. The stone dimmed suddenly, hiding its glow as if it was helping them stay unseen. Minutes passed like hours. One of the hunters paused near the log. Evan's heart pounded so hard he feared the hunter could hear it. The hunter's scanner beeped twice, then went silent. "No sign here." "Move forward." They continued deeper into the forest. Alira exhaled shakily. "The heartstone. It hit us," she whispered. Evan nodded. "Then keep it close." They waited a few more seconds, then continued moving through the woods until they reached a small clearing with an abandoned supply shelter, rusty, cold, and half broken. But it had a door, and it was hidden under thick plants. "This will do for now," Evan said. Inside, the air was dusty, but it felt safer than the open forest. Alira sat on an old crate, trembling. Evan knelt in front of her. "You okay?" She nodded slowly, wiping her tears. "I'm scared, but I'm okay because you're here." Evan smiled gently. "Good, you're strong, Alira." She looked up at him with wide, soft eyes. "No, you are strong. You protect me even though you are only human." Evan sat next to her. "Being human doesn't make me weak." Alira placed her small hand over his. "It makes you brave." Before Evan could respond, the heartstone suddenly glowed again, this time bright gold, not blue. Alira gasped. "No, this is different. This means..." A loud horn sounded in the distance, deep, ancient, powerful. Evan stood up. "What is that?" Alira's eyes filled with shock and hope at the same time. "That is not the hunters," she whispered. That is my people." But her expression twisted with fear. "If they find you with me, they might not trust you." Evan took a deep breath. "Then we explain, together." Alira hugged the heartstone tightly. "The truth is coming, Evan. And everything will change." The forest grew colder as the strange horn echoed through the night. Evan stood at the doorway of the broken shelter, listening. The sound didn't belong to the hunters. It was older, deeper, and carried a strange power that made the leaves tremble. Alira held the glowing heartstone tightly, her breaths fast and shaky. "That horn, it belongs to the royal guards," she whispered. "My mother's soldiers." Evan looked back at her. "So they're here to rescue you?" Alira didn't answer right away. She lowered her head. "Maybe, but they might think you kidnapped me. Or that you are helping the hunters." Evan sighed. "Well, that's just great." Alira's hands trembled. "They are loyal, but strict. They won't trust easily." Before Evan could respond, a bright light flashed through the forest. A huge ship descended between the trees, crushing branches as it landed. The ground shook like a small earthquake. Evan shielded Alira as dust exploded into the air. Heavy footsteps approached. Armored figures in silver and white uniforms stepped out, nothing like the hunters. These soldiers had tall helms, glowing blue eyes, and long energy spears. Their movements were silent, disciplined. Alira gasped. "Those are my mother's elite guards." Evan whispered, "Good, let's talk to them." But before they could step out, a sudden explosion hit the ground nearby. Boom. The hunters had returned, dozens of them stormed into the clearing, firing energy shots. The royal guards turned at once, preparing for battle. A voice shouted, "Capture the princess alive! Kill the human!" Alira screamed and grabbed Ivan's arm. "No, they will destroy everything." The forest became a war zone. Blue and red. Energy beams cut through trees. Sparks flew. Branches exploded. The air filled with smoke and burning leaves. Evan looked around desperately. "We need cover." He pulled Alira behind a fallen tree as beams shot over their heads. The royal guards fought fiercely, but the hunters had more numbers. Their black armor blended with the forest, making them look like shadows. A guard's voice rang out, "Princess Alira, reveal yourself." Alira shook her head, terrified. "I cannot. If I stand up, the hunters will shoot me first." Evan turned to her. "They need to know you're alive. Otherwise they will think you're lost." Alira hugged the heartstone tightly. "If they see you with me, they might attack you." Evan gave a small smile. "I've been running all night. Might as well finish the job." Before she could protest, another explosion tore through the ground, throwing both of them to the side. Evan groaned, feeling pain shoot up his leg. Alira crawled to him, crying, "Are you hurt? Please say something." He grit his teeth. "I'm fine, just a bruise." But when he tried to stand, he stumbled. Alira caught his arm, her tiny fingers shaking. The hunters spotted them. "There! The human has the princess." A beam blasted the tree beside them, sending wood flying. Alira screamed and covered her head. Evan stood in front of her, spreading his arms wide. Even though he had no weapon, no armor, nothing but fear and determination. "Leave her alone," he shouted. The hunters laughed cruelly. A human protecting royalty. Pathetic. They raised their weapons, but before they could shoot, the heartstone burst into blinding golden light. Alira gasped. "No, it's choosing." The golden light scanned Evan from head to toe. His body felt warm, almost weightless. He didn't understand what was happening, but Alira's eyes widened with shock and awe. It accepted you," she whispered. "You are now my guardian, chosen by royal blood." The hunters froze. "What? A human is the chosen protector?" A deep, powerful voice thundered across the clearing. "Stand down." The royal guards stepped forward, forming a wall of silver armor. The leader, a tall warrior with bright blue eyes, pointed his spear toward the hunters. "You attacked the guardian of the princess," he said. "You attacked the empire." The hunters hesitated, but only for a moment. Then gunfire erupted again. "Run!" Evan shouted. He grabbed Alira's hand and sprinted toward the cliff edge. The trees thinned until they reached a steep drop overlooking a deep valley. Wind roared below. Alira's eyes filled with horror. "We're trapped." Behind them, hunters charged. In front of them, a deadly fall. Evan looked at Alira, breathless. "I promised I'd protect you, and I will." Alira's heart pounded. "How?" Evan took a deep breath and stepped in front of her. "Because I'm human, and humans don't give up." The heartstone glowed brighter than ever, lighting the entire cliff with golden fire. Behind them, the battle raged. Ahead of them, destiny waited. The golden glow from Alira's heartstone spread across the cliff like rising sunlight. The hunters paused for a moment, shielding their eyes. Even the royal guard stepped back in shock. The light was alive, warm, bright, ancient, like something out of legend. Alira held the stone with both hands, her small body shaking. "It's calling them," she whispered. "The true fleet." Evan stood beside her, his body still glowing faintly from the stone's earlier acceptance. He didn't understand how any of this worked, but he knew one thing: Alira trusted him. And he would not let her down. A deafening roar filled the sky. Clouds split open. From above, massive shadows descended, huge ships made of silver, blue, and gold metal. Their engines hummed like thunder. Their lights cut through the night. An entire royal armada appeared, blocking the stars that the hunters looked up in fear. No, impossible. Dozens of smaller ships broke formation and surrounded the forest. Soldiers with shining armor landed in perfect lines, forming a wall around the cliff. Their spears glowed brighter than fire. A powerful voice echoed. Princess Alira stepped forward. Alira held Evan's hand tightly. "I'm scared," she whispered. "What if they hurt you?" Evan squeezed her hand gently. "They won't. You're the princess. And I'm your guardian now, remember?" Alira nodded, wiping her tears quickly. "Then, step with me." Together, they walked toward the cliff edge where the clearing opened and the royal army waited. A tall figure approached, twice the height of any human. His armor shimmered with blue symbols, and his cape flowed like a river of stars. His eyes glowed a deep silver. He bowed on one knee. The entire army behind him followed, kneeling like a sea of metal. "Your Highness," the commander said, lowering his head. "We feared you were lost forever." Alira held the heartstone close. "I was saved by him." She stepped slightly to the side, revealing Evan. The commander's silver eyes focused on Evan with shock. "A human." A murmur spread through the soldiers. Some were confused. Some were offended. Some looked ready to fight. The commander rose slowly. "He is not of our species." "Why does he stand beside you, princess?" Alira's voice shook, but she stood tall. "Because he protected me when no one else did." The commander glanced at the heartstone. "It glows for him. Only royal guardians can activate it." Alira nodded proudly. "The stone chose him. My mother chose him. I choose him." Evan felt a weight in his chest, an emotional weight he didn't expect. He had never been chosen for anything in his life. He was just a mechanic from a small colony. But now, a child from another world looked at him like he was her entire shield. The commander turned toward his troops. "Bow to the guardian." One by one, thousands of soldiers lowered their heads toward Evan. Even the sky fleet dimmed their lights in respect. Evan swallowed hard. Hi." Alira giggled softly. It was the first time he heard her laugh, but the moment of calm didn't last. The hunters, cornered and desperate, tried to attack again. Their leader shouted, "Kill the human. Take the princess." They fired wildly. Before the royal guards could react, Evan stepped in front of Alira without thinking. A beam struck him square in the chest. Alira screamed, "Evan!" But instead of falling, Evan remained standing. The golden glow from the heartstone surrounded him like armor. The beam faded harmlessly. The hunters froze. What is he?" The commander lifted his spear high. "He is the chosen guardian, protected by the royal bloodline." With a single command, "Advance!" the royal guards charged forward, overpowering the hunters in seconds. Energy spears clashed, beams hissed, and metal hit the ground. But the fight ended quickly. The hunters were defeated. Alira ran to Evan and threw her arms around him. "Evan, I thought I lost you." He smiled down at her. "I told you. I'm not going anywhere." The commander approached them again. "Princess, it is time to return to your throne." Alira held Evan's hand tighter. "I will return, but not alone." The commander hesitated. "You want a human in the royal palace?" "I want my guardian," Alira said firmly. "He is my family now. Evan blinked. Family. Illyra nodded, tears shining in her eyes. You saved me without knowing who I was, not for power, not for reward. You saved me because you cared. She looked at the commander. That is the kind of heart our kingdom needs. The commander bowed again. Then it shall be. A royal. Ship lowered its ramp. Illyra tugged Evan's hand gently. Come with me. Evan took a deep breath. His old life, his lonely cabin, his quiet routine was behind him now. Ahead of him was a new world, a new purpose, and a small girl who believed in him more than anyone ever had. He stepped onto the ramp beside her Dot as the ship rose into the sky. Illyra leaned against him and whispered, You didn't just save me. Evan, you saved a future. And far below, the galaxy watched. A human and an alien princess rising together.